Dazzler's Craft. Handcraft custom trainers designed in-house. From your favourite football team or player to that band you've always loved. dazzlerscraft.co.uk.
Welcome to my Best 11 podcast. This week we are joined by a man who's spent a bit of time at Shelton. Luton had a big move to Marv's favourite Premier League team in Liverpool. Spurs, QPR, Portsmouth to Man City and then back to Portsmouth for a short time. And scored, which I'm going to really keen to hear about, scored a goal for England as well. So I'm really, really keen to hear about that as well. This week we are joined by Paul Walsh. How are you, Paul?
I'm good, yeah. Looking forward to it. Nice to see you guys,
Excellent. And Marv, how are you, Marvin? How do you know Paul? Because, I mean, your time doesn't cross over too much, does it? If at all?
Not really, no. I mean, obviously, he came to Luton and was like a big player and went on to have a fantastic career. And so I think with Wayne, he's very good friends with Wayne Turner. And so I think I bumped into Walsh a few times when him and Wayne were together and sort of like got to know him through that way. Would you say that's fair, Walshy? Roundabout, right?
That's about it, mate. Yeah.
I don't know, but apart from him terrorised me a couple of occasions, I think once when he was at Tottenham, I played against him, and another time when he was at Portsmouth. So apart from that, on the field,
who won, Paul?
I can't remember, mate. I mean,
no, I can't remember. I can't remember that. No,
how old are you, Mark? How old are you now? How old are you now?
53.
All right, so I've got 5-6 years on you. Yeah. So So
I didn't mean the game. I meant it's in the battle between the two of you.
I can't remember. You don't remember every game, and I certainly can't remember them games. But and I can't remember playing Luton. The only time I remember at White Hart Lane playing against Luton was, and I remember playing against Fozzie, because Fozzie was always trying to bully all the young kids, getting them round him, and it's all about protecting Fozzie, really. And I done him for a penalty. I just backed in, bought the contact, and went down and got the penalty, and he was fuming with himself.
That was probably the game then, because I mean, I've saw a clip, as you do sometimes on Twitter. Someone to put a picture of you, Walshy, in the air. I can't believe he was in goal, but like I was behind you, like trying to challenge you. And I said, apart from that, if I would never have seen that picture, I would never have thought I played against you when you was at Tottenham. But obviously we did.
No, that's right. So fantastic. I mean, you play a lot of games, you don't remember them all. Even the good games, I can't remember some of them. Trying to. Memory's getting worse. I'm taking part in an Alzheimer's study at the FA at the moment, but so my short-term memory's not brilliant.
Right.
So we are here to talk about your best 11. Those people who haven't listened to the podcast before, Paul's going to go through and name the best 11 players he's ever set foot on a pitch with. Up to him to pick formation, players, and if he wishes to, give honourable mentions as he goes through as well. Paul's also going to give myself and Marv, even though I'm getting ribbed on social media for my performances. He's going to give us, I'll take it. He's going to give us some clues as we go, so the listeners can try and see if they can guess as they go as well. So while they're listening in the car, or the tube, or wherever it is they're listening along to the podcast. So over to you, Paul. Formation.
Yeah, I mean, one question I wanted to ask was, because of my limited international career, you play with some players there, but is there a caveat of how many games you have to have played with someone for it to count?
No.
Right. No. Okay.
Under 21s, as long as it was a professional game, all good.
Yeah. Okay.
You're cruising, Walshy. You're cruising, mate.
Well, it makes it a bit harder, actually. It makes it a bit harder. Because a lot of it was, very cut and dried. And on just on that basis, I might have to make a couple of changes.
That's
But
right.
in goal, you know, the players that jump out for me, you know, first one is a player who is a record appearance holder for the club he played for, and you know, he played over 800 games. I don't know if you've got to guess these guys, have you?
Yeah, yeah,
Have you got
yeah.
Is he your number? Is he your pick? Is he your pick in goal?
Is this what your pick?
He's one of those I'm giving an honourable mention to.
Oh, okay.
He's
not my say him then. You can just say him then.
Yeah,
No.
well, Alan Knight. It's Alan Knight at Portsmouth. You know, he's a great lad. He's a one-club fella, Mr. Portsmouth, and you know, played 800 odd games, and he was a good keeper. And then the other one would be Les Seeley, bless him. You know, Les was a good goalkeeper. I mean, me and Wayne, who you had on your show a little while ago, used to terrorise him. You know, we could wind him up and add him on a bit of string in terms of you know getting at him and all that. And he loved it though, Les, and he swore a lot. He was he was aggressive. He was like he used to try and hammer people himself as well. But you know, he was a good guy. Bless him, he's no longer with us. So he was a really good goalkeeper. But you know, there is you know, again, I could change this because the other one that I'd be speaking about would be England's all-time record appearance holder in goal, Peter Shelton. You know, Schultz was a great goalkeeper. So I've just been looking at that while I was talking to you, but you know, I'm going to go for a guy who's a bit of a fruitcake. So I don't think it's hard to get. You know, he's a bit off.
Isn't that most goalkeepers from what I hear?
Yeah, but he out fruitcake. He was top of the fruitcakes. You know, he was the king of fruitcakes, if you like. You know, did everything a little bit differently. You know, was a bit mad. Had a colourful life, but was a top athlete, top guy, and a top goalkeeper. And made many appearances for this club. So I'm going to probably leave it there. I mean, you're looking puzzled, Marv. I can't believe you're looking puzzled. Wayne said you was quite bright, Marv. I mean, I'm struggling with you now.
How are you struggling for this? Did he have spaghetti legs?
Yes, he did.
There you go, Marv.
Yeah.
He played for your favourite team. He won everything with your favourite team, but he would have won probably nothing with his international team.
It's early. It's early in the morning. I told
you. What time was it? Good time. You must have had a late night last night, did you?
7 o'clock.
Very well.
Go on, Marv. Who is it? There we go.
Yeah, Bruce Grobler. I mean, really, Schultz. It was a toss up between him and Schultz. When you think that Peter Shilton, what he did was amazing. So, you know, it's not easy. I've been lucky in my life to play with many good players. You know, for me, the midfield is where it gets really hard. But we will go to right back next.
Yeah, can I just go back? Sorry, can I just go back to Grobler and ask, what was he? I know he came across as a bit of like you said, eccentric character. What was he always like that in the training ground, or was it just kind of white line when he went onto the pitch? He gave this facade of a character, a bit of crazy, funny. Do you know what I mean?
No, that was him. That was him in life. You know,
okay.
it was just a bit different. You know, and did had a lot of mad stories from being in the Rhodesian army, and you know, but ones that you're sitting there thinking, is he telling porkies, or is he sort of, has he made that, you know, has he added a bit on? It's a story with plus 10-20% bolted on, you know, about this one where I think it was a cobra was up and ready for him, and he put this hand up here. I had attracted his attention and just slapped it round the head. He said, you know. And it was like, that was just one in a million of his little sort of, you know, had a story about everything. He was funny. I love him though. I love him. He's a really good guy. Energy, good fun to be around.
How did he help you? Obviously, because you've gone kind of from, with the great respect, Charlton, Luton, and then gone to the European champions. What did you notice? Did you notice in terms of him in training? Did you have to step up another level just in training, let alone obviously the match days?
Well, you know, I mean, you know, you have to. Liverpool was a very strange club, you know, in terms of you got there, no one said anything to you, no one gave you any real guidance. You you fit. They thought if you were a good player, you'll fit in.
Right, you work it out for yourself. Right.
Work it out for yourself. We're not telling you what to do. We've bought you because we like what you do, but how are you gonna adapt that into our team? And it was like that, and there was no airs and graces and no real our training. I remember Sven-Göran Eriksson coming to our training once, and we used to have 2 sticks in 2 bollards either side of the pitch. Our warm up was embarrassing, and Sven would be there with his clipboard, thinking, right, here we go. These lot have won everything. What am I going to learn today? And Bruce, we never had goalkeepers in the training because it was a 5-a-side. So it was the last man was the goalie. So you always had, Bruce would be running around like an headless chicken all over the place, playing out on pitch, but generally if the football was sharp, moved, passed, quick, boom, 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 and that was okay. We wouldn't do any running. And if it was a bit slack and, it weren't sharp, then we do a few doggies. And then we do another 45 minutes of 5-a-side. But there was arguments of whether the ball was over the line, and because goalie was the last man, and if it went over the crossbar or if it was under the crossbar, because it never had a crossbar because it was 2 sticks on 2 bollards, and it was all that. It was like being down the park with your mates having a game, right? But with the best players in the world, and that's how mad it was. And it really was that simple. There's no more to it, no less to it than that,
So Walsh, just before you go into your right back, I know we've delayed along on this one. So when you've left now, you've started at Shelton, Luton, and then gone to Liverpool. So there was more I don't know how to word this, tactical stuff, information coming from those managers rather than there was at Liverpool. Is that what you're saying? It wasn't like.
I think football's got over tactical now.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it was simpler back in the day. When you're coming on a sub, I'd have had a meltdown looking at all them pages that someone's showing me. But I get it. I'm taking the mickey a bit, but it's like when he's coming, what it is, he's coming off, and that's where he stands in the ball. That's where he stands on a free kick. So I get all that. It's just a bit clearer, I suppose, rather than. Make sure when we used to go, and it was just make sure you're at the back post, for corners. Yeah. You're in the wall for free kicks. We didn't have to get the booklet out. And football was simpler in terms of its shapes as well. Everyone pretty much played 4-4-2 and fitted around a 4-4-2 formation, and players played in that system. Could some players have thrived in maybe a 4-2-3 or a different formation? Possibly over the years, when I look back on some players that weren't great defensively in midfield, i.e. Glenn Hoddle, because when Pleaty went to Tottenham, Glenn played 5. Pleaty played 5 in midfield and had Glenn floating around. And Glenn without defensive chores was a genius, And so, it was simple. I did what I did in the position I played. And I had to be on the back post at a corner and things like that. But there was no rocket science, simple. And players that did genius things within the simplicity of the 11. That's what happened. And they were fitter. They delivered balls with quality. People I remember going and playing in a pre-season game in Dortmund. And, some players... You at the higher level, you need to, the subtle movements need to be spotted, and good players spot subtle movement. So I just wanted to shift the defender just half a yard towards the ball, and I made a run I just took a step as I was going towards the ball, and then checked out and went the other way. And Sammy Lee was already delivering the ball in the pass, but what I'd done is I'd got the defender's body weight on his front foot, so I was checking out and going the other way. And that buys you a second to get away. And they were the subtle differences of the quality of the speed of thought and delivery that made a difference at that club. Yeah, is the simplest way I can possibly explain it.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
No, that's spot on.
Right back.
Where we go? Left back.
No,
right.
I thought it was right. Oh, up to you.
Don't matter. Left.
Well,
I thought someone said left back. So right here. I've got a player that scored in 2 Champions League finals, and I think has got either 3 or 4 European Cups and 8 league titles and 5 Milk Cups. Alan Kennedy, you know, and he ain't made it, you know, and he would have been, and it's only the fact that and I didn't play many times with this player, but the other player would have been Jim Beglin, who came in after Alan and had a great career and broke his leg. He had the worst broken leg I've ever seen on a football pitch, you know, where I've run over to it and gone.
I remember it, yeah.
That, bloody hell, it was awful. There was only one other I ever saw that was worse, and that was David Boost at Man United. It was the only one that was ever worse, but for me anyway. But Jim was a top player, but he doesn't make it because Kenny Sansom was the best left back in my generation of playing football, and Kenny, you know, was quick, was strong, could deliver, could pass. You know, he had a bit of everything. Could jump, he had a good leap. He could do anything, Kenny. So he would be my left back, I would have to say. Love it to be Wayne because he's my mate, but he don't quite get in that little group. You know,
so it's Kenny Sansom.
It is Kenny Sansom, yeah.
So we're not playing the guessing game anymore now. We're not allowed to guess anymore.
Oh God, yeah, I'll give it away, didn't I? I forgot we were guessing. Yeah. Oh no. Should we take two on that, and you can make out you don't know? Yeah, yeah.
No, why did you up, Walsh?
No, I should have gone as soon as I meant. Well, I'm trying to think what clues I might have given you.
Right.
As soon as I mentioned Arsenal, I think it would have given it away.
Palace? Was he not at Palace? Did he start at Palace? Did he not start at Palace?
He did, yeah. Yeah, he
that
did. Terry Venables was at Palace in that, like, you know, the team of the 80s or whatever they called themselves.
Right.
Palace. Yeah, most of them just left and went everywhere else, and they probably got relegated. I can't remember. But yeah, no, Kenny was like the left back of his generation. And Alan Kennedy used to curse him because without Kenny Sansom, Alan Kennedy might have got 70 caps or something.
100%.
But actually there is another player I haven't written down that I should put in that, who actually was a great player. And he was about to sign for Liverpool and failed the medical. Get me that one. Yeah, you didn't get Kenny. Get that one. Played for a Midlands club.
Midlands club in the 80s.
And actually, he would be on a par in my real book with Kenny in the 80s. Yeah.
Left back.
Yeah.
What country?
No, England. Yeah, he's English, isn't he? I roomed with him actually in Australia, where I made my international debut, and he was from a Midlands club. You're not going to get it, but he was every bit as good as Alan Kennedy and Kenny Sansom, if I'm honest.
I'm going to say, Midlands club. You said Midlands.
Yeah. Who are you thinking of then?
Because you're young. You was young. You're 19, weren't you, when you said with England, weren't you? 19?
Yeah, 19 and 20, yeah.
So I was going to say someone like, but it's not Midlands, Mick Mills.
Mick was sort of a bit older than me. He sort of just...
No, I know he was, but...
Yeah. You could have said Stuart Pearce, maybe.
Yeah,
because I was in some of the England squads with Stuart. So Stuart was in the mix.
Where did Stevie Nicol play? Left back?
Right back. Right back.
Anywhere.
Right back.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Anywhere. He's right. Anywhere.
He was sweaty, wasn't he? He was Scottish, so...
Go on. You've done this. You've done us with this one, actually.
Played for West Bromwich Albion.
Oh!
Come on. When you go through your left backs, it's like...
Statham.
Derek Statham was top draw, mate.
Yes, Derek Statham.
You know, and he was almost an identikit of Kenny a little bit, but actually, I could have easily put him down for the left back, easy. But yeah, I'm going to stick with Kenny. Right.
All right, perfect.
So I got the guessing part of the left back, but just on another person. So redeemed myself. Actually, I can't believe I never mentioned him in the first place. I actually could easily have had him down as that left back. Right back. Right. Aye. One player, Phil Nill. I mean, mate, I think I'd have to get his record up. It's ridiculous, his record, like in terms of what he's won. You know, 7 championships, 4 European Cups, 5 Milk Cups, so many Super Cups. You know, he's got trophies coming out of his ears. But for me, there's another player. He was my roomie. He was a bit quirky, liked a beer, liked a bag of crisps. He was Scottish, and he was a bit mad, but he was brilliant. Mad but brilliant. And the reason I could have played him in several positions, because the beauty of when people ask me my top 5 players, he's in it, because he was that versatile and that good wherever he played.
Is it the one Andrew just mentioned?
Isn't the one? Is it Steve Nichol?
It is, yeah.
Oh.
Now I could have done, actually. Do you know what? I could have had Phil Nill there and played Nico in the next position a bit further up, because I have got another great player. But this
thinking about it now, you're thinking
it might be a mistake the way I've done it, but because I mean what I do is I'll move to the next position, right side of midfield, because while we're on that subject, because the player I have gone with, and we could chop it about, but because Stevie Nichol could have easily been in the right side midfield position. He played right side midfield, left side midfield, centre half, right back, left back, centre half, and he could play anywhere across the midfield. Was 2-footed, was good with both feet, never stopped running, had an engine, and could pass and score and deliver with quality. And so I don't think, when I say his name, sometimes I get surprising looks, because other people didn't know him like we knew him, because when you see someone every day in training and everything he's about, and his attitude and his mentality, you sort of understand why. But the player further forward, I'm trying to think how I could caveat this. It's going to be a bit of an easy giveaway, I suppose, because he was one of the first.
Just before you say that, Walsh, why are we jumping onto him again? Why are we?
Because I don't know whether I'm going to change Neely to right back and Nico to right side of midfield, right? Because Neely really did, with all that armoury and his his trophy cabinet, if you like, he's got to be in it really, and so is Steve Nichol.
Let's stay with the back 4, and then when we come to the
come
right,
back to it.
Gives you a little chance to think about what you might change or not.
This player was quick, brilliant, part of an amazing back 4. Started his career, I don't know where he started. It might have been Preston. See if you can get it from might have been Preston.
This is the centre back. Yeah,
right side centre half. And what I'm going to do is
Preston.
I'm going to Google it, because I can't remember. I might be throwing you a red herring. But if I Google
there's two that come to mind straight away.
Right.
But I don't know which played on the right of the two in that Liverpool team. Who played on the right hand side of those two? Yeah,
he's Scottish, this one.
Yeah, I was right.
He was Scottish. Is he Scottish?
No, played 73 times for Preston. So obviously had at least 2-3 seasons there. Yeah, 3 seasons he had there. And then went to the other end of the country and played alongside one of your teammates, Marv. Come on.
I'm trying to think of this one.
I thought that's made it easy. One of your teammates.
It's too many.
And he was down on the south coast, this player was, before he moved to another big club.
He started off at Preston.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's done this again.
Andrew, you got no idea?
I've got a load of people, but I don't know. Right. No, Gary Mabbott was always Spurs, wasn't he?
No, he started at Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
But he didn't play. He didn't. To be fair, Mabsy he'd be right in the mix for this.
Okay, this other clue you can give us. Which club was this you played with, Matt?
Oh, I'll give it away straight away. I might as well tell you it is.
All right. Well, I can't believe I can't work this out then.
Why am I struggling to think what nationality Lawrenson is?
Mark Lawrence is.
Hey, is that what you're saying?
Mark Lawrence?
I'm saying Mark Lawrence.
Yeah, it is Mark Lawrence. Yeah, he's Republic of Ireland. But he's English, really, but he just happened to play for Republic. I don't know why.
That's what threw me. Yeah, okay.
He's got loads of England caps.
Yeah.
So, but Mabsy, as was mentioned, would be right in there amongst that. Mabsy, because people are often, when I get asked questions, who's the hardest player to play against and all that, people think people who kick you and hurt you and they're the hardest players. And I say to people, there's nothing hard about kicking someone from behind. Stuart Pearce coming and levering me from behind because someone's given me a bad ball, right? Or I've maybe made a slightly bad run and a missed time. He's got a chance to come, get me the ball or get me and then get the ball on the way through. All that sort of that wasn't always that hard. Although Stuart was a tough player, but there's different ways of being hard, is what I'm saying. Just keep coming back for more as a forward player. When you are getting kicked, he's being hard to a degree. Right. There's different ways of showing it mentally, physically, your temperament a lot. So Gary Mabbott would have definitely been right there alongside that. But
Lawrence, for everything, Walshy is his composure, his heading, his marking, his defending.
Yeah, it was quick. Never seen him get mugged off, only by me once, which helped me get sold to Liverpool. Our first game, our first game at Anfield was a 3-3 draw. We had 3 goalkeepers on the day because Jake Finley got injured. I think Kirk Stevens went in goal. Then at half time, he came back out on pitch and Mal Donaghy went in goal. And we drew 3-3 at Anfield about 5 games into our first season in top flight. And it was 3-3. And so I played up the inside right channel. And I always used to do this to players I knew I couldn't outrun. It went up into the inside left channel and turn into them, let them think I'm turning into them. And as they went to get the ball, I lifted it over his foot. And if you look,
I've seen that clip so many times. They show that.
And then I don't know where. And then I slotted it to Brian Steen, who slotted it into the top corner. So I mean, what got told to me was that Liverpool were quite impressed because Mark Lawrence doesn't normally have that happen to him. So they kept their eye on me a bit, and it started from there. But generally, Loro never got caught out. He was too quick for people. It's not worth getting involved in a race with him because you just won't win it.
Right.
So the only way to get past him was to try and out clever him, out trick him, do something like that.
I don't want to mention anyone else yet because I mean there's quite a few centre halves at Liverpool you could have chose, so it might be the other one you might.
Yeah, we'll see who's next to Lawrence.
The other one who was another top player, but was just in the shadow of someone else was Gary Gillespie.
Yeah,
Gary Gillespie was a quality player. He had lots of quality players in that position, and and Gary didn't always get a game because there was quality players in he was up against.
So who's next to Mark Lawrence then?
Well, I mean, again, Nico played there. It could be Terry Butcher, it could be Russell Osman. On the few games I played with them, but it's one that I think you'd expect it to be, if I'm honest. That's why I said at the beginning of the chat that it could be. Some of it's quite predictable because of this one team I played in had so many good players, so I haven't really got an alternative to this guy because there was no one who could really touch him. Made it look so easy. He played, like some people, my dad used to say to me, Jimmy Greaves in the box came to him like he almost did things in slow motion, like he wasn't bothered. And that's what made him so great because he didn't, his head was so clear as he received the ball. And this player used to run around and just jog into positions, didn't always get involved in headering it.
Was he Scottish?
He was, and 9 times out of 10, he ended up, just moving out of a position, passing it, and making the game look so simple. And he's been on telly quite a lot, so I think anyway.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe he was a centre half. To be honest, when growing up, and I'm watching obviously the Liverpool, and it's like effortless, just gliding and you witnessed that at first hand. He's like that in training, was he? Yeah, just
he didn't bother getting warmed up too much before a game. We'd be watching the 2:30 in the players' lounge. You know, we'd walk in the players' lounge with his kit on, no boots on, just his socks, and then just stand there and do the most ridiculous warm up, touch his toes a few times, and flex his hip forwards and back, and go out. And you know, I never ever seen him run really fast anywhere because he read the game. Was almost, you know, knew what the other player was doing most of the time, and that's hard to play against when you got that. Right. And knew when to step in front, knew when to step up, knew when to just drop. You know, he just knew, and 9 times out of 10 took the ball down and walked away with it. And it was weird how that happened, but you know, so yeah, he's Alan Hansen is that player.
Alan Hansen,
yeah. Fantastic.
Just going into today's game, Walshy, and how it's like the emphasis is played on playing out from the back and getting wide the centre backs. Can you imagine how he would? I mean, he was so way ahead of his time, wasn't he? Really?
Yeah. Well, you'd like to think that he'd be okay, but the one thing is that a lot of the time, no one ever did a high press on it, and that wasn't really a thing that teams did. They normally thought, you know what? Let's just drop back. We're at Anfield, sit back, let them come out with the ball. So he always had plenty of time on the ball. It was more when you move forward into midfield. You know, how were you going to pick them off in the next part of the pitch? I don't know. You'd like to think that he had the ability to adapt if he had to have the ball and move it quickly, but he never had to move it quickly, if I'm honest. So I don't know. That could be different. That's found a lot of people out. That has, you know, that high press and having a 5-a-side around your own penalty area, which happens now with like City and Liverpool and some of the better teams. You know, so so that's the back four, isn't it? So
fantastic, great. So what we'll do is we're going to pause it there, Paul, and we are going to hear a short message from our sponsors, and then when we come back, we'll hear the rest of Paul Walsh's best 11.
Add some art to your Adidas's with Dazzler's Craft Custom Trainers. Based in Exeter, UK, our small team of designers handcraft your Adidas with your favorite designs. From your favorite football team or your favorite player to your favorite band. All our current designs are available to view on our website, dazzlerscraft.co.uk. If you prefer, you can also commission your own bespoke design and let us get creative. Just give us a few ideas and leave the rest to us. Dazzler's Craft, bringing you ideas to life. dazzlerscraft.co.uk.
Great. So we're back for part 2 of Paul Walsh's My Best 11. I'm going to hand straight over to Marv for Marv's 60 seconds. Paul, if you can just say whatever comes into your mind, we might unpick the why in a bit, but whatever Marv throws at you, just give him whatever answer comes straight into your mind. Over to you, Marv.
Okay, favourite other sport?
Golf.
VAR or no VAR?
VAR.
Golden goal or penalty shootout?
Golden goal.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Spurs v Arsenal or Liverpool v Everton?
Liverpool v Everton.
Funniest player? Funniest ever player? Or teammate?
Wayne, I'm going to say Wayne. I'll give him a mention then, can't I? He was funny, honestly. Not when he's rattling on about football, he ain't that funny, but he gets his coaching head on and he'll drive you mad.
All right. But... If you could change one rule in the game, what would it be?
Oh, that's a toughie. Yeah, don't know. Yeah, like that double jeopardy thing. No, I don't want to change it, but just have it applied better. Where who's it? Got Reece James got sent off the other week.
Right.
Where it you know, you get the penalty, but you don't need to send him off. That rule.
All right. Bundesliga, La Liga, or Serie A for quality?
La Liga.
If you wasn't a footballer, what would you have done?
Been in a lot of shit. I got in enough as it was, but yeah, I don't know.
Last question, Marv.
That's the best stadium you played at for you. Best stadium.
Oh, Wembley.
Wembley.
Yeah.
Old Wembley.
Yeah, old Wembley. Yeah, I grew up just loving the place, and then to actually play there was just what I always dreamt of. Yeah, Wembley.
Have you ever had a kick around on the new one?
No, not a kick around. I've been to it. I've not had a kick around on it. No, I can't even kick the ball now. You know, so
I mean,
golf's a struggle.
Just for me. I haven't played at either, but the old Wembley itself for me is it outweighs the new Wembley. Just how it is, just the towers, and there's so much history with the World Cup and stuff like that. It just looks, I don't know, I can't explain it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just like in my formative years of watching football, we had a special place in it, and you know, and the FA Cup in the 70s, more than the 80s for me, but the 80s as well. Well, no, the 80s as well. 70s and 80s was amazing. You grew up as a kid wanting to play in the FA Cup more than win the league, really. And, you know, and the most special FA Cups, I believe, in my lifetime were in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. So you mentioned, I mentioned earlier on about England caps. Can you just talk us through how you got the England cap and the phone call coming through and where you were, and obviously kind of that whole story?
Yeah, I can't remember how you actually hear about it. I think the manager normally comes and tells you, your club manager. But you know, I was already made progress by, you know, being in the under 21s. I've been in the youth under 21s, and now I'm at Luton, getting noticed, and things were going well, and so I'm playing in the under 21s. And Bobby, you know, on a couple of occasions, I remember going to Hungary, and he kept me back from the under 21s to start with, and what he was saying to me was, "You're on my radar to play," and so, but then I went off his radar that night, and he put me in a taxi all the way across Hungary somewhere, which I wasn't best so happy with. But and when actually I was in the end, because we went and back and beyond in Hungary somewhere, I don't even know where it was, and we beat him 2-0 and I scored, so I was happy. And so I was in his thoughts. He'd included me in squads. But it wasn't until, you know, you get included on a tour of actually Australia was where it was. And like I say, I was rooming with Derek Stavum on that tour. Derek was a great player. Gordon Cowans was in my little gang, and Gary Shaw was a great player, you know, for Villa at the time. And you know, but I made my debut, you know. But so the tour, the manager, the David Pleat would have come to me and said, "Bobby's going to put you in the squad," and then the squad gets announced, so you know about it, you know, in case the press ring up and stuff like. Because a new young kid coming in, especially maybe Luton, you know, so early, 19/20, you know, it's sort of a bit of a big story for the papers and stuff. And you know, the opposition at that time was Paul Mariner, Tony Woodcock, Trevor Francis, you know, and those players. So you know, it was great. It was great. You know, it was another progression of where I wanted to get to, and I was getting there. Yeah. You know, that culminated with, you know, I mean, I could waffle on forever, but I end up making a massive mistake as I go to Liverpool that changed the course of that. But you know, I'm probably not going to bore you with the story, but because it will go on for a bit too long.
So, I mean, I just want to touch on, like, I mean, obviously, in the end, I mean, I'm not saying like Luton and Portsmouth are not like decent clubs, but a bigger club, as in Spurs, Liverpool, Walsh, you play for those clubs. But for me, as a 19-year-old, you're in now the full England squad on their radar. I mean, was there no, like, apart from Luton, was there none of these bigger clubs, like, in for you, or rumours about? I mean, not taking nothing away from Luton, because obviously he did well and you went on, but
right. Well, you mean when I'm at Shelton?
Yeah, because like, it's weird that as a 19-year-old, because like that wouldn't happen today. You go into, you know, as a 19-year-old.
my size was the issue, I think, for a lot of people. I'm not that big, as you know, and you know, so I'd been linked with Man United, Everton, Villa, and so when well, actually, it was you know, in the summer holidays, I was getting linked with all these different clubs. But also Alan Mullery, who was my manager in my second year at, or my third season at Shelton, he said to me, "You've got to get away from here." So I sort of had set my head on that, and also I was laying in bed one day, and remember, you've got no mobile phones. The phone rings downstairs, and my mum comes up and says to me, "There's this bloke called David Pleat on the phone." I'm like, "All right, he's a Luton manager, isn't he?" So I go down, "Hello, yeah, David Pleat. Paul, I'd like to bring you to Luton." So, well, what do you say? You know, I've got to be honest with you. I was hoping I'd be going somewhere bigger club. Exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But remember, at that point, I'm only playing in England youth. I haven't played anywhere else. I'm only in England youth international, and I'm 19 years of age, and I've only played in the equivalent of today's championship. So, you know, he asked me if I would want to go. So I say, yeah, of course, yeah, because I do if they're the only ones that were there. Part of me was hoping for a bigger and better club, but it was the best thing I ever did. And you know, sometimes there's someone looking down on you. And I don't know whether there is or there ain't, but if there is, that progression was the right progression for me. You know, although I didn't appreciate it, those 100 games that I played for Luton over those 2 seasons, and getting that experience at that level over them 2 seasons, whilst playing under 21 England football and flirting with the full international scene, would have been a perfect progression, just like Liverpool was the next progression. But as I said to you, I do make a massive mistake. I'm almost feel like I've got to tell you it because
I know. Listen, it's up to you. I mean,
it's only on purposes of time. That's all it is. You know, in my own ego world of my head at that time, I'm England under 21. I'm full England. I'm going to Liverpool. I've been linked to a team in Italy, and you know, I got things. I'm getting everything how I want it. So I think in my head, I'm thinking I've got it how I want it. So I go to meet Liverpool. We agree a fee, right? And whilst I'm in the meeting with Joe Fagan and the chairman and all the rest of it, Joe Fagan says to me, "Paul, we want you to come to the European Cup final in Rome," right? And I'm thinking, wow, that sounds great. And then he said to me, "And we want you to come to Swaziland and play the 2 games." And he said, "And there's a few quid in it for you as well." I'm thinking, oh, sounds even better. But over here, I have the under-21 European under-21 final versus Spain over 2 legs to play, right? But there's also a tour of South America, right? Brazil, Chile, and all that. So I again, no mobile phones. I say to David Pleat, "Dave, Liverpool want me to go to Rome and to Swaziland. I'm sort of thinking I'm more full England international than under 21. And I'm using, and underlying it all, if I'm brutally honest, was fatigue. I was tired. I'd had a long season. I played about 50 games. I was tired. So in my head, for going the under 21s, going with Liverpool, having a week off, and then going to South America with a full English, I had it all worked out in my head, how I thought would be best for me, until Pleaty relayed the message again, no phones, and I'll go down the paper shop the next day and buy the paper, and on the back page was "Bobby boots out Walsh. If he can't motivate himself to play in an under 21 final, he's not for me," along them lines.
Right.
So rather than trying to phone Bobby up and talk it through, I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm joining Liverpool. I'll get back in the England team. So there's some great knock-ons here, by the way.
No, this is fantastic.
No, this is good.
We're fine for time. We're fine for time. As long as you're fine.
This affects several people's lives in the end. Some for the better and some for the worse. So my England under 21 strike partner, on the day I'm joining Liverpool, has just finished about 17th in the table for Portsmouth, and that's Mark Hateley. I'm joining Liverpool. He's had a struggling season with Portsmouth. He sometimes was my under-21 partner, right? Because Steenie was as an overage player for a bit, Brian Steen.
Right.
And so when I make that mistake, Mark Hateley gets elevated to that trip because he's my under-21 partner, next player in the mix to go on that tour. And the night Barnsley scores his wonder goal, Mark Hateley scores the other goal, a back post header against Brazil, and they win. I think it was 2-0 or 2-1. Anyway, they won. And everyone's raving about Barnsley's wonder goal, but Mark Hateley scored a goal. A week later, and remember, in the 80s, Italian football was bigger than the English football.
Yeah.
Mark Hateley gets transferred to AC Milan for £1 million and goes on and gets 20 caps or whatever. And over that period, and so fast forward in my Liverpool now, I'm 2 years in, the 1986 double winning season was my best season by 1 million miles. And there was clamours for me to be back in the England squad. And when I used to go and train with England, Gary Lineker was called in as a late replacement for someone. He weren't even in the squad, Gary Lineker. And Peter Beardsley wasn't nowhere near it, right? But over the next 2 seasons, Peter Beardsley does get in the squad, and so does Gary Lineker. And they both end up sliding Mark Hateley out of the way. And I think even Kerry Dixon went in '86.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't ever play for England again. You know, and in '86, when they should have been, when I maybe should have gone to a World Cup, and the press were clamouring for me because I had something like 18 goals in 28 games, and we're going to win the title, and we're going to an FA Cup. I get injured with 8 games to go, and so the flip side of our football is, and how people remember it, there was also a television blackout in 1986 where ITV and BBC couldn't agree on TV with the FA and the league and all the rest of it. Not that many games were played. So whenever I say to anyone, name me Liverpool's double winning team, I'm not even in it, right? Because Kenny Dalglish's chest volley at Stamford Bridge is one of the few games that was on TV, and it's an iconic moment. So people just relate Ian Rush and Kenny Dalglish like they always were together, and I was nothing to do with it. So I get a little bit hurt about that, if I'm honest. And in the PFA All-Star 11 of that season, I'm in it, right? So that's all the players in the top flight voting for me to be in the best 11. Kenny Dalglish wasn't in it, nor was Ian Rush. It was me, Gary Lineker, and Mark Hughes were the 3 forwards. And yet, if you asked anyone generally about who played what was Liverpool's double winning team, I wouldn't be in it. So I find myself telling this story to sort of justify myself within that double campaign.
Right.
I mean, but really going back to the mistake. So my mistake actually gives Mark Hateley a wonderful opportunity. Fair play to him. He goes and gets it. Gets a great move because Ray Wilkins recommended him, who was in that squad, to AC Milan, and they paid £1 million from him. And there you go. And things change.
That's a great, but that's, I mean, we're fine for time. I mean, this is what I feel that the listeners want to hear. That sort of information and stories, and it's from your point of view and your perspective, which is great.
Well, and
that's that sliding doors moment.
Yeah. But it's probably when people say, I had I like my agents, my little Jewish guy called Eric Hall. He was one of the first football agents on the scene. Monster. And he went to me, kid, he said, regret the things you did, not the things you didn't do. Right. And I sort of quite like that outlook, cause there's quite a lot of things I regret actually, but in terms of football moment, that was one, I look back on my life and think what a massive decision that was. I only had to go and play because normally what I'd have done, if I'd have gone in once I was with the under-20 boys in the squad, I'd have loved it. And do you know the last time the England under-21s won that tournament? 1984. 1984. And do you know what? I was the main player in the squad. I was going to Liverpool, I was a top scorer. And I look back on it and I can't tell you what I call myself in terms of names and,
But Walsh is experiences, and it's life. It's one of life experiences. I mean, you've now.
We probably can't swear on it, but I fucked right up, right? Have to put a few beeps in because it deserves a fucked up. It deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's of that
and
magnitude.
again, I'm not. I mean, obviously, I didn't even get to that level to be playing as an international. But in any walks of life, like you've just said there, everyone's effed up somewhere along the line. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's effed up some point in their life, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it was a huge mistake, turning point, and one of probably my biggest regret in the game. But yeah, so there you go. There's that little pop. There's that little 2 years. It's a 2-year period. That was.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And like I said, it's sliding doors moment. It's one of those things that football fans may not even realise, because they may have just read the press, they may have just read the papers in the 80s and gone, "Oh, that bloody Paul Walsh, he's a," and they'd have had that in their heads. Some football fans, you know what they're like. I'm not in that. I obviously don't remember that incident, but some football fans, we hold on to those things like they're like this, and that's all we remember. That's Paul Walsh. We label him with the back page of the paper on that day, and you're right. So it's important to clear that up.
40 years ago. Yeah, but there you go.
So we'll move on to midfield. Move wherever you like. Do you want to go on the right hand side? Which
I'll get the right out of the way, because I still haven't. Because the player I was going to pick was one of my old teammates at Luton, and so it's blindingly obvious to a degree. But really, if I'd have put Phil Nill at right back, then Nico would have took this position. But part of me felt like this person deserves to be there. Especially in my time at this club. And he delivered an amazing ball to me for my first goal in the top flight. So but that's not a good enough reason for me to put him at right side of my all-time 11. But as I'm sort of caveating it with, it could easily have been Steve Nicol, Phil Nill at right back, but I'm going with it. So over to you guys to have a workout. I'm
Ricky Hill.
Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah. So Ricky, no, I can still, as we're talking, remember this ball he plays to the back post. It was against Notts County, and get up at the back post and knock his cross in for my first goal. It's one of the most amazing feelings, because I'd missed a chance against West Ham in the previous game, because me and Steenie made our debut at White Hart Lane for Luton in the top flight. So that was our first game in the top flight. And Steenie scored in the first game. Then I missed a chance against West Ham. And then you're getting a bit anxious. Oh, I want to score. And then so when that ball went in, it was a great moment. I ended up scoring a hat-trick that day. So that sort of made everything a bit better. And actually the second goal of that game, I ended up winning goal of the season with it. So, it was a really good day in many respects. And Ricky was a quality player, but there's options here. But I've told you the reason he's there. I've said it could have been Nico there, but because Phil Nill probably deserves to be in the team. But anyway, that's what I've gone with. Fantastic. It gets more complicated in the middle. That's what I'm worried about.
We'll go to the left-hand side and then we'll go middle then.
There's no competition on the left-hand side. You work it out. It's just no competition. Just no competition. Just no I've put one name down. There ain't no competition. It just ain't. Oh, there is.
Andrew?
There is.
No, but there is though, because you could, if you include England.
Yeah. Well, no, there weren't a player on the left side, and actually he was the same player. So but there is. And he was a great player, actually, a fantastic player. Went and played abroad.
I was going to say he's a Geordie, isn't he? Yeah,
you got it. He was a fantastic player. Ended up moving on and
France.
I actually thought I was part of his deal when he went. I was supposed to have been part of it. Venables phoned me up one day. He said, "You're going to Marseille." He said, "Get," and then I thought, I got all excited about it, and it just fizzled out and never happened. And I was really up for that. So I think you know where it is and who it is. But that player's Chrissy Waddle, yeah. I'm allowed to say him, aren't I? Because he isn't, yeah. So, but he's not my player on this side.
He's not your player.
No.
Okay.
No, that's. I've just given you his name. That's not the player. I'm just giving you an alternative to the player who actually. Wadler was brilliant.
Yeah. That's the one I was thinking of. Who would have been?
But this player I'm talking about's in my top couple of players of all time. It's not hard, honestly.
I mean,
I'm trying to think ages. All right, John Barnes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
John Barnes. Yeah, there was no. His first season at Liverpool, he was possibly the best player in the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd agree with that.
There's probably only Maradona to touch him in 1987. His first season, he was phenomenal. Scoring free kicks, beating people, making goals, scoring goals. It was just fantastic. And so there is no competition. Wadler is the competition.
Yeah, but I hear you.
Wadler was a great player, and I played through the middle with Wadler, and we did really well together. Yeah. But yeah, it's sort of.
Sorry, God, I was just going to say he was similar to yourself, John Barnes, getting in the England squad. I think it was a similar time with you. He was 18 and you was 19. So
yeah, we were. Yeah, he made his debut a couple of weeks before me. I think he made it out in Ireland somewhere. I think it was Ireland, in the home internationals. So we had the home internationals, and then I think we went away to Australia. So Barnes, you already had a couple of caps, and I got mine out in Australia, my first cap. But yeah, so he was in Bobby Robson's head. I think actually, if I could, my feeling was he loved me and Barnesy, Bobby.
Yeah,
he loved the both of us. Except I caused more problems than Barnesy probably. I gave him more headaches because I'm a pain in the arse, you know.
And can you rap?
No.
Can you do world in motion?
No, I definitely can't do that. You know.
So you as a striker, you put Ricky Hill, John Barnes, you mentioned Chrissy Waddle. Did you like the ball in the air as a striker, or do you like the ball played to your chest or over the top? Where did you feel that your strength was?
Wasn't bothered. I mean, listen, you don't knock a long ball up to 5'7.5" to marked by 6'4". If you've got the ability to drop it in short, then yeah, it's no good banging it just anywhere. I don't mind the ball coming in from a distance if it makes me the favourite. The good players make you the favourite with the pass, right? But going back to your question, I loved heading the ball. And, later on, I play at Man City and I play with two wingers, Nicky Summerby and Peter Beagrie. And I scored shed loads of headers. And when I look back on my, I haven't got an exact figure for this, but I would predict that out of my 170-ish goals I got, I reckon 30-40 with headers of those, a large percentage. I learned to head the ball as a kid, single foot takeoffs, double foot takeoffs, changing the angle of approach, smash edit. I learned that as a kid. And so I developed a leap. I had a wonderful Sunday football manager. We used to do weights and jumping with weights when I was a kid. So I ended up with a really good leap. So I could jump. I could jump for a short ass. I could jump. Well, being a short ass, you've got to be able to jump if you're going to edit. But I couldn't stand up against the centre half who was 6'5" because he could then get his arm round me and just stop or pin me down. So I used to have to come and attack the ball from the side. If that was just a nuisance value, just to put the centre half edit, getting my arm in his face, maybe get a nick on, maybe just do enough so that he can't edit how he wants to edit. But then when the ball's in wide positions, quality crosses are not about being tall. It's about attacking the right areas, and I was all right at that. But Liverpool didn't play with lots of crosses. Liverpool played and found a way through with clever football. Up like Man City was lots of crosses, so that was great. I like the lots of crosses, but yeah, I've lost my track. Where was we going with that? Keep going off on a tangent.
Which one you preferred? But no, you answered it.
Which one you preferred?
You're open to anything.
Chrissy Waddle, Tottenham weren't like that either. Chrissy Waddle wasn't really a get down the byline and cross it. He could play off here and come inside and football his way through. So Tottenham wasn't a crosser of balls sort of team. Man City was. Man City was the only team I played in. And I didn't realise how much I thrived on that when we had that. because when you're a player like me, being a second striker, if you like, I like to come into holes and pick it up, right, and get turned and face people. Sometimes I was all right back to goal and rolling people and spit, all of that. You've got to be able to do a bit of everything. But when you come short, I used to, with wingers, you either set it back and the ball went outside, you got the ball out wide, and then you got your ass into the penalty area, and then Marv, because so if I'm playing against Marv's sort of watching the crosser, and I'm looking at Marv, so Marv might have a look for me. As soon as Marv has a look for me, I'm going
across. Yeah,
I'm going across the face of him, because just as he turns his head, I'm on my way, right, and I'm gambling, right, or I might go to gamble in front of him and check out. That might shift Marv a couple of feet the wrong way, and the cross might just beat him. It's about moving people around.
Yeah,
and you gamble in those areas, and sometimes you get lucky. You don't always get lucky. Sometimes the cross misses you out, or the defender heads it. But if you keep getting in them, making them little runs often enough, you get enough of the headers. Man City scored loads of them. I loved heading it. But
it doesn't surprise me, because just when Walsh is talking about that, Andrew, is that if you're playing against, whatever, Mick Hartford or whatever, big Mahe, whoever it is, when that ball's coming in the box, it's going to be more of a case that it's going to be you're competing with him. With Walshy now, because of his size and like he's just explained, it's the speed, it's his movement. So therefore, now it's like you're looking around for him, and it's not going to be a ball in the air where you're going to jump with him. It's going to be like him moving in front of me, or him going around the back of me, and I'm going to now have to get to the ball first, no matter what. I know the ball's the main thing, but like I'm saying, he's not going to get in a competing battle with me to out-jump me in the box and head it in the goal like Mick Hartford would.
Yeah, well, no good from corners and set plays, because set plays you can get set. So, there ain't room to take a running jump because there's too many bodies about. So, like a big centre-half can get his arm. He knows where you are at a set play. But when the ball's flowing up the pitch and it's moving, players are strung out a bit more. Cross comes in, bang, hopefully you get a bit of a chance. But anyway, yeah, so Chrissy Waddle wasn't, those players weren't crossers. They were good, intelligent, playoff people getting, Chrissy scored a lot of goals.
Right.
Because he could play through the middle and score from the right, coming off the left-hand side.
And you also
but it was good competition with John Barnes. That's the ultimate thing.
You also mentioned you could have been part of that deal. Was that the only time? I did hear or did see that. I know it's Liverpool, but Como or something, what came in for you?
No, Como was before I went to Liverpool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was that the only time?
Yeah, but Como, I'm not going to go to Como getting promoted out of Serie B into Serie A and not go to Liverpool, am I? If it had been into Milan, I might have gone, or one of them teams, Juventus. Right. I might have gone, oh, blimey, yeah, it's a bit of a decision, but not Como.
There was no other times abroad came about?
Yeah, Real Sociedad, because in the end, Roy Evans, I believe, because Roy really liked me, Roy, so I believe he recommended me to John Toshak. I'm not really sure what happened. I think there was an agent involved, and I kept thinking it was going to happen, and again, it just never happened. And the same agent, Dennis Roach, I believe, was involved in both sets of those negotiations. So, because I wasn't with Dennis Roach, I don't know if he was trying to push other people and convince other people. But anyway, it never happened. But so yeah, I would like to have tried playing abroad. I think it would have suited me as well. But yeah, so. We're now on to the centre midfielders.
Central midfielders, yes. Your hardest position, you said.
Well, I think it is, because there's, I've just got to work out what I'm going to...
Still changing his mind now.
Well, I've got 5 players here. And it could be more than that, I think. But, one of them was a master big guy, foreigner, could stroke the ball over the place from anywhere. And I could be playing in with probably the best goal scoring midfielder I've ever seen.
Was the first one a Danish player?
He was. Yeah. So we know who that is, don't we?
Yeah.
So that was Jan. Well, because listen, I could have any 2 from these 5, any of them, right? So Jan was one of them. So the best goal scoring midfielder of his generation by a million miles. Who do you think that is?
I would say
Gaza.
Geordie.
Gaza.
No, he's a jock.
Oh, Ipswich.
Yeah.
John Walk.
Without a shadow of a doubt, because
yeah.
Probably the generation before him was Terry McDermott.
Yes.
Who's a midfield running forward who gets in the box and scores. And there ain't loads of these players about. They somehow have a knack to drift into the box and score. And Walkie was unbelievable. And I'm going to get his goal record up actually.
He was unbelievable. It really was.
With injury as well. But I'm just So and the other one is Ronnie Whelan.
Yeah.
Because Ronnie was a top player, but I don't think I can quite put him in front of the two players I'm going to put in there. John Walk. Let's get Wikipedia. John Walk. He scored a ridiculous amount of goals. This is like from midfield. He scored nearly 100 goals in 266 appearances from midfield.
Really, that's huge.
In the modern era, that's kind of Frank Lampard numbers, isn't it?
He scored 30 and 70 from midfield for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Even at Ipswich, he went back to Ipswich and scored 23 and 89 from midfield. So it was a goal machine, the bloke. From midfield. In a 4-4-2, because everyone played 4-4-2. So he may have played with a Kevin McDonald. And that's why Jan, a lot of people don't realise, Jan's first season under Joe Fagan, he didn't play. Didn't play him a lot of the time. Kenny, when Kenny took over, Kenny did play him, but Kenny also played him in a back three.
Yeah, he did.
So Jan, but you had to find a system for Jan because he never ran around a lot. But he was like a quarterback. Give him the ball and he'd just flick it all over the place with great accuracy. So Jan has every right to be in the mix. So does John Walk. And so does Ronnie Whelan. But one of the players is a bit of a fruit bag. The player who's in it is a bit of a fruit case. Do I need to say any more?
No, I think we've mentioned him already, Gaza.
Oh, did I mention Gaza?
No, we did.
No, I think we did. We mentioned him,
yeah. So he would have to be in it, even though, bloke's an idiot. Lovely idiot, he is. Lovely idiot. But so he's Gaza could do anything. He could pretty much do everything. I'm not sure how this would work in terms of a team because the other player alongside him I've got, was also a world-class, top, unbelievable football player, and an England international. So and also one that that's not on here, or one that's not going to make it, is probably one of Tottenham's greatest ever flair players. Score, pass, amazing mobility. So can't believe you're not getting this one, Marv.
I'm not getting this one.
Which one are we going for? Which one
is this one?
Am I looking for the Spurs one, or am I looking for?
Well, they were both England internationals, and played in England's midfield, but not always together, because this player, who was probably the most flair player that there was, couldn't really play in a 4-4-2, and everyone played 4-4-2 because he wasn't great defensively.
Yeah, I know. He went on to be a manager as well.
So Ray Wilkinson.
No.
Hoddle, I'm thinking.
Yeah, Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah,
Hoddle was amazing.
Yeah,
his ability. I mean, he played him in a 5 at Tottenham, and when the year Clive Allen got 49 goals.
Yeah,
because Glenn could then still have a 4 and just float around being brilliant. But in a 2, he weren't that good, and everyone played 4-4-2. But the player I've gone for is more of a northerner, and again, could do everything. Probably wouldn't have him and Gaza as a pair because, well, you probably could, because he grew to be able to do everything, and later in his career played a bit deeper.
Northerner, later in his career played a bit deeper.
Yeah. Bit like, in his early days, ran forward, scored goals, got injured a lot.
Was he, I want to say Robson.
Brian Robson, yeah.
Brian Robson, yeah.
Yeah, no, I could have gone with any combination out of those lot, because they're all absolutely brilliant, but brilliant but different. Gazza, could run with. Gazza wasn't actually great to play with if he was a forward, because Gazza only ever he weren't a passer or a slider. Glenn Oddle, I'd have loved to have played with, because you made a cute run, he found you.
Yeah.
Gazza only wanted to use you as a 1-2. So you pull off in the box, he wouldn't slide you in, he'd just go 1-2, try and score himself. He did it great, but he did some amazing things. Walkers, I've just said that, got an amazing goal scoring record from midfield over his lifetime. Amazing. Robbo could do absolutely everything. Ronnie Whelan scored top goals in big games. Amazing players. And so that was that. But I'll have to go with Gazza and Robbo is what I'm going to go with. But it could have been.
Could
have been anyone.
And there's hundreds of others.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of others.
And you mentioned Sammy Lee earlier on as well.
Sammy played off the right. He could easily be on that little right mix conundrum. But Chris
Naeem?
Naeem was a good player. He was a good player, but I just think these players here are just that little step up.
Correct.
Naeem was a good player. Yeah, good guy as well.
How many goals would you concede, do you reckon, with that four? I know Brian tracks back a bit, didn't he?
Oh, it depends. Yeah, I mean, you had Jan and Gazza in the team. Yeah, lots of goals which concede. If you had Robbo in there, or Ronnie Whelan sat with one of those, it would still work. But yeah, in today's shape, you'd probably play some sort of a three with one of those three, a combination of those in a three somehow. Sometimes you just got, would you play with wing backs? You could easily play with Nico as a wing back, or Kenny Sansom as a wing back. Do you need three centre halves? Maybe not. I don't know. There's lots of combos you could have.
Yeah.
Because I've made it for simple terms like a 4-4-2, but and the next two that I don't even think I've got to give you any clues, but they were just blindingly obvious for me.
What centre forwards you're on about?
Two forwards. I mean, it was the best footballing combination there ever was, I think. But I've got other players like good players like Steenie was a great player. Gary Lineker was a great goal scorer. The best goal scorers are never the best footballers.
Right.
Just like John Aldridge was a great goal scorer. But the ball used to bounce all over the place off his feet. But he was a great goal scorer. It's like I read something recently. I used to watch Pippo Inzaghi and think, what a crap footballer. The guy's goal record was mental. Just scabbed it over the line, scuffed it in, always in and around. But you asked me, would I like watching him every week? No, I wouldn't.
What is it, Sir Alex? Was it him? Sir Alex Ferguson said he reckons he was born offside. Was it him?
Yeah, it might have been. He played. I think it was AC Milan he played for, wasn't it? They scored just a mental amount of goals. Actually, I'm going to get. Let's get Pippo Inzaghi, isn't it? Let's get that up.
So while we work out who the strikers are,
I think. I mean, when he said that it's obvious, I think I know. I mean, the probably the best combination duo there was. I mean, for me,
yeah.
It has to be Ian Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you want to say the other one, Marvin? We'll share it out.
Dalglish.
Yeah. Actually, his goal record ain't as good as I thought it was, but it is in Italy, in Zaghi. It's 200 in 466, but it's still very good. But yeah, so I'll take that back then. because Rush's goal record was phenomenal, absolutely mental.
And across different countries as well.
Well, what sets Ian Rush apart from everybody else was he was a great defender from the front. You know, he let Marvin think he had a bit of time and then rush him and and nick it. He was great at nicking it. He worked hard at the front. He closed people down and he scored goals. Gary Lineker was only good at, worried about scoring goals and didn't really want to defend, didn't even want to train really. He just wanted to score goals. There's nothing wrong with that. Tony Cottage got a great goal record. I haven't played with Tony, but there's some players with some phenomenal goal records, right? But Rush is set apart for me because of his work rate for the team, his goal scoring record, and his combination with Kenny was second to nobody. So it just has to be them two. But I also played for England with Trevor Francis, who was a great player, and Tony Woodcock. These are all great players, but for that combined effect that them two had and that individual ability in that one team that just stood the test of time, Kenny's goal record stands up pretty well as well. It's not Rush's, but what Kenny did lots of other things and created lots of chances for Rushy. So that was probably the ultimate combo, really. Well, I'll put, because there's who's that? I'll put Clive Allen down. Yeah, I did play with Clive, but Clive was, again, a bit in the Gary Lineker mode. Better footballer than Gary Lineker. And he's probably, his goal record's phenomenal as well. John Aldridge was again, he's not a player I would pay to see, but he scored goals. Another great goal record. Yeah. But Ian Rush was.
And even at the back end of your career as well, people like Big Niall Quinn you played with at the end of your career, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. He sort of got in the way a little bit because he was. Me and Rossler were playing together. We didn't need Niall Quinn, but he was a top paid player, I think, and the chairman was, he had to play. He was one of them, so I had to get him on the pitch when he was fit. But me and Rossler had done tremendous together, and the crowd loved us. But they also loved Peter Beagrie on the left wing. And I remember what happened was Quinny had to come back in. So he played Quinny with Rossler and played me out on the left. I didn't really want to be out on the left. And Beegs was very upset. So he had to upset the team a bit because he was under pressure to play the highest paid player. But Quinny had really nice feet for a big guy. And we did okay together because sometimes I played with Quinny up the middle as well. But me and Rossler had in the end, had a better understanding, had a better productivity between us. Quinny wasn't going to chase anyone round. Lumbered about a bit. He's like huge, wasn't he? Yeah. He wouldn't be in that little mob, Quinny.
No.
Yeah.
So would you say? I mean, you had a good combination. I mean, I know it was only 2 seasons with Steenie at Luton. Was it something which just instantly hit off between you two and Steenie? I know you spoke about Rossler having a good combination, but would you say? I mean, Rossler and I don't know who else would be your ideal partner you found throughout your career that you seem to blend with.
No, Rushy would have been my ideal partner. Yeah, because I could supply him the ball as well, a bit like Kenny did, but I could also, get my own goals. My goal record was pretty good at Liverpool. I think it was 37 in 77 starts, which was good. For me, it was good. But Rushy was, you had lots of players who could supply you good passes in dangerous situations. Steenie was a top player. But for some reason, a bigger club never ever took a chance on him. I don't know why that was. Maybe it became, in the end, me and Steenie's situation became a bit competitive because we were playing for England. We were trying to, and so we did have some tension between us at times. But yeah. So Rossler I was 32 when I went to Manchester City. So having this unknown German and me strike up a relationship meant we became friends forever over when he came to, and couldn't speak much English, that this old English guy who gets thrown together with, we create a bond and a partnership that the fans loved, because the Man City fans didn't want me when I went there. They wanted someone younger. They wanted someone who was on the up. they looked at me as on the way down. So they didn't want me there. So it was one of the most satisfying periods of my life on the basis that the combination of what we did and how we did it, went there in a relegation battle. Me and Russell, we scored four. I scored 4, he scored 5. We won 3 on the spin. We beat Newcastle, Villa, Chelsea, and we went flying up the league. And suddenly the fans loved us. And then the following season was the same. So it was an amazing 18 months. Turning a difficult situation for me around to being, I would say idolised to a degree by the fans, and Russell are the same.
Right.
So that was a great, really, that was like one of the best periods of my life, without a shadow, and probably one I hadn't expected would come along, but
Right.
it did.
Yeah.
Because I ended up at Portsmouth because I'd let myself down at Tottenham, right? And that's why you end up at Portsmouth. You don't go to Portsmouth because you've been brilliant at Tottenham, do you? So me getting back to the Premier League at Man City sort of, made it all worthwhile. It was great. Yeah, it was great. It's
fantastic.
Yeah. So I think that's where we're at. That's my 11.
So which manager, or it doesn't have to be a manager. It could be even that guy you spoke about as the Sunday League who taught you to jump. So it's your team. So you can have anyone who wants to manage it, someone who's affected your career. Yeah,
well, no, John O'Connor, who was my Sunday football manager, was different league, but I don't think that's I Pleaty gets the ump because he read somewhere that I said Jim Smith was my favourite manager, but ultimately, you people go, who's your favourite manager? And I go, well, the ones that used to play me. Simple as that. When you've got a manager who ain't playing you, you've normally got the ump with him, or falling out with him, or I was good at falling out with managers as well. But yeah, so Jim was just a likable character. Understood, and so he knew I liked training. He knew I was getting to 30, and he used to say, have a Monday off. Yeah, do what you want. He knew I liked training. He knew I had a bit of quality, so do what you want. The other players didn't all like that sometimes. So Jim was great to me. But when Pleaty had me, we were working hard, really hard, because I was 19, 20. I'm still working hard. So it was different. But Pleaty just let me play, put no restrictions on anything. He just let me go. Go and do what you want to do. That's how it was. So you can argue sometimes being a great manager is doing nothing.
Right.
Don't justify yourself as a coach by keep telling me do this, do that.
Right.
You've got odd little tips, but nothing mega. That's it. And so sometimes some managers overcomplicate. Brian Alton was because Brian Alton was my manager. He was my captain at Luton and my manager at Manchester City.
Man City,
and David Moss, my teammate as well, another teammate. He was my coach at Man City. They never, especially when you're 30, they weren't telling me how to do anything.
Right.
And so most of the time, people knew what I did. You don't be losing the ball in midfield too often, but when the ball gets up to the final third, do what you want. Because I made things happen.
So you're saying, is it Pleaty then, or Smith? Who you're choosing as the?
I don't. Let's go with Pleaty. Pleaty
right.
Pleaty. Let's go with Pleaty. Yeah, it's
okay.
a toss-up. Kenny Dalglish, I fell out of a lot. Because I fell out of a lot because he probably weren't playing me as much as I wanted to play. Didn't treat me like I wanted to be treated. Joe Fagan was great to me. Played me every week, no matter what. Joe Fagan made me feel 10 feet tall because in my first season at Liverpool, when I was fit, he played me. And even the European Cup final, the Hateley tragedy in 1985, I was playing with a hernia, and she said, just rest. You don't have to train, just as long as you're ready for the games. And him saying that to me made me feel immense. He wants me, because he modified our team to play me, Rush, and Dalglish all together. But that's how much he wanted me in the team, and that makes you feel brilliant when you've got that backing. But I only had one season with Joe, and Joe apart from that, didn't say a lot, didn't do a lot. Liverpool was what I already told you at the beginning.
Right.
jumpers for goalposts, have a five-a-side, but just make it a good one. That's what it was. But yeah.
Fantastic. So, last question we always like to ask people when they come on the pod is, what are you up to right now? Are you still involved in football, or are you out of football, or what are you up to at the moment?
No, I'm sort of retired, trying to find a balance. Between, because another side of my life, I don't know whether Marvin knows any about this, but you know,
I do, Walsh. Yeah, I mean, because I've listened to a few of the other podcasts you've been on. I mean, that one was with on 5 Live was really good. I mean,
yeah. So I've been Alcoholics Anonymous for like 5.5 years, and so I do a lot of service and help a lot of other people, and I volunteer in a rehab centre twice a week, and I help other people who are struggling with drink and drugs. So, and then in my day job, if you can call it a job, I've been involved in property for 25 years, and it's moved from building to money lending with security and finance, you know, stuff like that, which I'm comfortable with. It's taken me 25 years because, as I say to a lot of people, you come out of football, you've just been in football. What are you any good at? Nothing. So I learned some part of the progression of the drinking part was not being able to cope with my life after football. And I hated it, hated my life. You know, I hated it. You know, now football was over. What am I going to do? Is this what I've got to do every day? Put a bit of poor me in it. But, you know, bit of being a baby after football because I don't like my life. Financial insecurity because, you know, we didn't earn fortunes. How am I going to pay the bills going forward? You know, I'm sure, you know, and all of that sort of stuff. So my life is like a nice mix of a little bit of business, a lot of recovery stuff and addiction stuff, and you know, a little bit of family stuff. My eldest boy just made me a granddad, so a couple of months ago. So you know, being involved in that, try not to be too stressed. I do a lot of things I thought I'd never do. I never thought I'd do.
Do you meditate?
I do.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I do. I mean,
yeah. I do 20 minutes in the morning when I first get up. I do some readings to put my. I'm the most ungrateful person on the planet. You know, so when I get up, my first thought is about me. My first thought is about what I haven't got. You know, so I have to do gratitude, get my gratitude right up there, you know, because I can get bogged down in my own shit very quickly and start feeling sorry for myself. So I have to get off that pity pot straight away with my meditation, with my reading, get some gratitude, look out the window, because it was lovely yesterday and that's raining, right? Fuck, you know, it's raining. Supposed to be the summer. What's going on? Yeah, and do you see what I mean? Yeah, how I can do my day before it's even started with that attitude. You know, so changing my attitude. It ain't raining anymore. You know, it's not as nice as it was yesterday. But what shall I do? Right. You see the two, Rowan. You know, I was going to play golf today. Look at it. You know, I could. You know, well, just the fact I could be playing golf even if it was raining. Right. So what? I'm playing golf. It's raining.
Yeah.
You know, some people are at work and can't pay their bills, and you know, I also did a bit of prison service. So I go into a prison. I haven't been in for quite a while. You know, it helps me get a bit of gratitude because, you know, you see people who are much worse off than you, had a much worse life than me, you know, and you know, and the reason I'm out there with what I do a little bit is because I believe that so many players struggle after football because of the reasons I'm talking about. We don't have much knowledge. We don't have, in lots of cases, education, you know, and, you know, we're stuck, in my case, stuck with a little bit of ego and what I thought I should be doing. And when it weren't what I thought it should be doing, I was either angry, resentful, bitter, jealous, lots of things that, you know, are not good things to be because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do and it wasn't going how I wanted it to go. And you get bogged down in this thinking and this attitude of all of that stuff. And sometimes drinking was the only way that made it go away. And, you know, it took me a long time to realise it. But, and it took us.
But you've got there, Walter. You've got there. That's the thing for me is that you've got there. There's still, like you've just said, there's still people out there who haven't got there. And they, I mean, I always think that oh, it's always someone else's fault. Oh, it's because of this. They're always blaming someone else. And that's the thing for me, which is great about you, that you've got there now.
Yeah. I'd rather got there a bit sooner, but I could have saved a lot of shit for a lot of people. But anyway, we are where we are. And things like that were strained are not as strained as they were. Family relations and stuff like that. So that's the upside. But I think football and sport generally can make you selfish and self-obsessed, and coming out of that obsession, the selfishness manifests itself in lots of different ways. But when I help other people, so helping someone else, me and Wayne laugh about this now. Well, because he said you wouldn't do nothing if there weren't something in it. Sometimes I wonder how we're mates, but and it's like no, I wouldn't. What's in it? What are we doing? What am I getting out of it? No, it ain't like that. So doing stuff for people, just helping them because they're not well, it's a bit alien. I've never thought like that, and now I do think like that. And texting someone and making sure they're all right. Just simple things that probably nice people do. I'd become unnice, probably for a long time. It's an illness. It's an illness, really. But it's like by doing the process, you understand your own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and stuff. And I know guys and people don't like always talking about that, so they keep banging their head against the wall, doing the same thing, hoping it's going to be different, and it ain't. So in a nutshell-ish sort of thing, that's it. So that's what I do. Quite a lot of time on that, and and now I'm sort of I've got the luxury. This is how lucky I am. I didn't think I was lucky. Of what shall I do now? Shall I go to the gym? Shall I go for a bike ride? Shall I have a swim? Right? Shall I go for a coffee? I've got so life ain't that bad, is it?
No. And we appreciate you coming on, Walsh, and we thank you for sharing all that information and your best 11. And hopefully, reminiscing, it's not, been too bad for you, because obviously, like you said, it's a case where your career, you've had a fantastic career, but at the same time, I'm not sure, like you said, you've enjoyed it as much as you could have done, sort of thing.
I made it hard for myself. I'll just caveat with one last thing.
Go on. Yeah, of course.
I remember being angry and resentful and bitter and twisted because I went for England, got schoolboy trials at 15. I was only a skinny little waif, and at the end of the week they put us in an A team, B team, C team, D team, E and F, and I was in the E team. Fuck! How's that happen? Why am I in that E team? I'm as good as him. Oh, because he's 6'4". Yeah, that'll be right. 15, and I'm 5'4", probably. And I had to watch them play at Wembley, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Right? If you'd have said to me at 14, right, it was 1977, because I remember, because Elvis died in August 1977 while I was at Loughborough University, right, and I was a bit upset. And so if you'd have said to me, Paul, this is your career, right now, I'd have snapped your hands off. This is a kid who was nearly getting rejected, couldn't get any England schoolboys, was getting rejected by Shelton because he was too small, nearly. Hung in there. But that's part of the problem, really. Once I got there, I started wanting to stick two fingers up everyone and go, I've done it my way. All you people who said I couldn't do it, right? And the start of that belligerent, angry, fuck you attitude sort of kicked in. Here we are. So I took that career all day long. But there's parts of me feel where I've let myself down and it could have been better. But that's the greedy part of me. Anyway.
And you move forward and you've learned. So I just want to say on behalf of myself and Marv, thank you so much for your time, Paul. And that was Paul Walsh's My Best 11.